today's Business Morning segment today, the 24th day of February 2026. Now, moving on to our first conversation for today. Now, talking about visa policy reforms, fuel global tourism growth, but challenges still remain. Now, as governments around the world retool visa regimes, tourism sectors are reporting notable growth, with easier entry rules acting as a key catalyst in attracting international visitors and boosting economic activity. Now, recent policy changes from Asia to Africa and the Middle East reflect a growing recognition that streamlined visa systems can be powerful engines for tourism-led growth. Now, visa liberalization driving tourist inflows in Asia and Africa, major reforms are underway as the government has launched ambitious visa-free and digital entry measures as part of its 15 to 5-year plan, aiming to transform major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Hainan into global tourism hubs. Officials say simplifying visa processes and reducing entry frictions are central to stimulating inbound travel and economic activity through 2030. Now, China's expansion of visa-free access has already shown results. Broader visa exemptions and eased entry rules have actually contributed to significant increases in international arrivals and tourism revenue, helping the country compete for global visitor share. Similarly, Vietnam has adopted digital visas and expanded its electronic entry points across airports, ports, and land crossings to make travel more seamless for foreign visitors, supporting the nation's emerging tourism boom. Now, African open border push. Across Africa, several nations are leveraging visa reforms to drive growth in travel and hospitality sectors. Stakeholders on the continent are calling for broader reforms in visa policies and air connectivity to unlock Africa's tourism potential, citing substantial economic gains if barriers to entry are reduced. Countries such as Kenya have rolled out visa-free entry agreements for many Africans and Caribbean states, eliminating cumbersome pre-travel authorizations and visa fees for eligible visitors. Players and policymakers concerned about lost tourism revenue. For example, tighter visa regimes for Nigeria travelers introduced by the United States and the United Arab Emirates have prompted debate about the broader economic cost of restrictive visa barriers. And now joining us is Tina Wanya. She is a senior travel consultant at Njetours Limited. Good morning, Tina. And so good to have you join us on Business Morning segment this morning.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, now, we're talking about visa policies and tourism growth, right? So then how much does visa ease or restriction directly impact a country's tourism revenue and even GDP growth?
Thank you very much. For visa policies, it actually restricts tourism growth in the sense that, just say for instance, you're talking about Kenya. Kenya, they introduced free policy for every travelers. That on its own increased and boosted the economy in Kenya. Now you can easily just say, okay, you're buying your flight ticket and then you're moving to Kenya. Tourism there is fast going. But in the case of when you come to other African countries, you see that the revenue is being reduced. Let me take, for instance, Nigeria, for instance. In as much as we appreciate the fact that the e-visa was introduced, but there are still some little barriers, and that affects the hotels that are supposed to be sold out. That affects the tour guide that is supposed to take people on tour. That has also affected transportation that is supposed to lead people to where they're supposed to go to, and then the drivers and the like. So for visa policies that are very stringent, it affects not just the economy, the individual, the business personnel, and that hinders GDP growth.
No, are strict visa policies truly about national security? Or do you think they are silently costing nations billions in lost tourism opportunities?
See, that part, in as much as it's all about the national security, in other instances, it's all about how you place your country in the global market. And it definitely is costing the country billions of naira, billions dollars of naira, if you want to put it like that. Yes, we understand the fact that I will take an instance again for Nigeria. When the late former president Buhari was in power, he ensured that visa within African countries as Nigerian, they can access Nigeria. You don't have to go through the embassy and then applying for visa. But I also make mention of that the fact that some nationals are coming into the country that they were not supposed on the normal day they were not supposed to come into the country. There was a little breach of security, if you ask me, and that really did not really affect tourism, because then you saw there was a hike in tourism, but the security aspect, it was not really encouraging. But with this new regime that is in, yes, they limited the visa policies. What did he do? They tell you that this is the way you need to apply for the visa. You need to go online and apply for the visa. If you see for now, there's the security aspect is actually limit, and then the economy did see a rise in revenue when it comes to e-visa policy for Nigeria. So for security reason, no, it doesn't really affect, but you just have to be very smart and then strategic about it.
And having said that, right now, should developing countries actually adopt visa-free or visa on arrival models to actually compete globally for tourists? Do you think this is doable?
Yes, developing countries, I wouldn't say they should and they shouldn't. When I say, I also still give an instance. Rwanda, for instance, adopted free policy for travelers. And everybody know that for as a Nigerian passport holder, if you want to go to Rwanda, you just get your flight ticket and you're admitted into the country. Seychelles, you wouldn't say Seychelles is a developing country. Seychelles did not really outweigh that part. I say you need to come into the country, but they introduced the ETA, which is the Electronic Travel Authorization. This itself is very easy to get, and then you pay at the fee of €10 and the likes. So developing countries, if you're eliminating the visa policy or visa-free policy, in the terms of revenue where the visa comes in, it might limit your growth, might really limit your revenue, but rather you make it subsidized. People will still come. Something that is supposed to be $5, for instance, you make it $1. Thereby, revenues are coming in that place. Let me give an instance. You agree with me that if you're traveling to London, in as much as Nigeria and London, they have a bilateral relationship, it is not free. You definitely still pay. So that's to stop people from going into London. Or if you see Rwanda, Uganda, the East African countries, it is not all of them. Tanzania on its own said, okay, for Nigerian passport holder, you need to get a referral visa. But for other nationals, you need to pay a subsidized fee. So eliminating the aspect of visa fee, either maybe they get visa on arrival or free visa, I wouldn't subject to that, but rather subsidizing it, because that on its own also bringing revenue into the country.
So now, how do digital visa systems and even e-visas actually change traveler perception and destination competitiveness? How does it change it?
If I have the opportunity, I would say let every country go into the digital visa process, and which of course some countries have been subscribing to it. Of recent, UK also announced their own that on the 25th, they will be going fully for the visitors visa, that's the e-visa platform, because this gives you the fastness, you secure prompt attendance to issues. I would say, let me also give an instance. United Arab Emirates, for instance, they've been operating the e-visa service. You can wake up and say you want to travel to UAE, and then you get your visa approved in 1 hour, 2 hours. You're holding your passports. So that is number one of fastest means. You trust the system. You know you're uploading your photograph, you're uploading your data page. That was initial the requirement if you're going to UAE. But now they'll say, okay, fine, upload your statement of account and all that. But you're doing it at the convenience of your home. You don't need to go to the embassy. Nothing is going to make you leave your house and all that. And then the safeness of your documents. we've seen a situation whereby they trying to transport documents, passport of people from one point to the other, the car got caught with fire or something, or somebody ambushed the car. Your document is there. But in the case of the document is still with you, all what you just need to do is just to upload. And the immigration personnel that is coming to attend to your file online doesn't need to start, okay, fine, this person file number one. No, they just go online with a link or in a database, open your system, see everything, run through the check that they want to do. So it's very, very encouraging. I still hear some people say, oh no, I still prefer the stick-on visa on my passport than the e-visa. But I'm here telling you that the digital visa is a way that every country should go to, because number one, it's as fast, it's as reliable, it saves times, it gives you that confidence of your application is going to be processed within the shortest of time, and also the safeness of your document is still with you.
Now, that's very, very encouraging. That is very, very encouraging. Those points you gave are very, very, truly valid. So then what lessons can countries learn from tourism hubs like the United Arab Emirates and Thailand that have simplified entry processes?
For the United Arab Emirates, they should learn the fact that UAE adopts a fast process when it comes to visa application. They have well-equipped database system, even on arrival in their country. They have so many personnel, everything is digital. And one thing about this country is they also as well do their monitoring, like once in every 2 days or twice in every 5 days. So by so doing, their system is up to date. Like I said, you just wake up and say you want to travel to UAE and you get your visa approved in 1 hour within 24 hours. So every country should adopt that, because UAE has set that pace, trying to welcome tourists all over the world. And then there's also safety in the country. UAE is that one country that you will sleep and wake up, even after you forgot your phone, it's by there. Their immigration system is top notch. They understand the fact that people come into our country, we welcome them, we need their safety, we need them to be. And then there's also one thing again that I said that every country should emulate UAE for. Their hotels. They have standard of hotels. And they have policies, they have people in place that go from one hotel to the other to check. If your hotel is below standard, definitely you're going to get a query. You're going to get a fine. So you'll be staying in UAE, you'll be staying in a 3-star hotel, for instance, you'll be staying in a 4-star hotel. You feel like you're staying in the best of the best hotels in every other places. So I think the government actually did invested in their tourism. Their tourism is one of their major source of income. So I think countries should emulate that. Let the government get involved as well. Because if the government on its own subsidized for the hoteliers, it will really go a long way. And then when it comes to the immigration system, train personnel, get the IT people, always update your system, like always update your system. Not like you're trying today, the network is bad. You will never see the network get faulty. And one thing again about UAE is when you apply for the visa, you don't have to say, please send me your visa. You use your email, everything is being sent to you. And then also Thailand did adopt that. Thailand, for instance, initially they were using the stick-on visa policy, but now it is digital. Everything, you just go online, you upload. One thing that I appreciate about Thailand is what I think other countries, they might also emulate. Even for Thailand, yes, they also do an interview system. But that interview system, they give you option. It can actually be conducted via Zoom, or they can even call you on the phone and say, oh, this is your interview. They get you prep, even on WhatsApp. So I really emulate that. So with that, and then how they subsidize the price for hotels, make people welcome in their country. So people are always trooping in, okay, I want to go to Thailand, I want to go to Bangkok. This thing don't just happen overnight. The government were involved in tourism, not like involved, fully involved in tourism. See that some amenities were in place, and especially their visa process that is very easy and straightforward. I think every other country should emulate that.
Awesome. You've given very valid points. And you know, in Nigeria, we can actually do a lot in the tourism sector. we have a lot. We have a lot. If only, like you said, the government would actually, subsidize in the hospitality industry and actually make our tourism worth the while. So it means we have so much to learn from UAE. But then again, in Africa, how can regional blocs like the Economic Community of West African States actually leverage free movement policies to boost intra-Africa and tourism?
Actually, a free movement for ECOWAS, that is the Economic Community of West Africa. There's actually a free movement within the state. But one thing that is not very okay, and then I would say, is when it comes to the flights. I don't know how they're going to subsidize that. I'm traveling to Doha, Qatar. I'm spending on a return flight ticket 946,000 naira. Say, for instance, that is if I'm using Ethiopian airline, that is a 8 to 10 hours flight going and then coming back almost the same thing. And I'm also going to Ivory Coast, just a 2 hours flight. And then I'm spending almost 2 million, 3 million naira. So to me, it's put up to the question that, is it that there's no relationship? Even as much as they say that it is ECOWAS, what is happening? If it is going through the road, of course, there's a network, but the distance is not encouraging. And with just you don't even need your Nigerian passport, your international passport. If you're traveling within the ECOWAS, you can get your laissez-passer, that's the blue passport that gives you freedom of movement. Or in some instances, just if you're going to a neighboring country, such as Benin Republic, Togo, you get just your ID card and then you show that you're a Nigerian, they can allow you in. But when it comes to flights, traveling by air, that is even supposed to be encouraging, telling people to invest more, you're spending so much. So I said, what is happening? Are they assessing or given updates regards in one aspect, and then the other aspect, they're saying, no, everybody can do what they do. So I think the government should actually look into that, because there's no that integration when it comes to the air movement, but during the land, and then there's actually, I think the government should look into that, because it is Africa. We want to travel. I'm surprised that for now, like in our organization, people are doing combo trips. When you take combo trips, you add 2, 3, 4 countries, and everybody's saying, I want to go to Africa. People want to go to Africa. People want to see other parts. But when you give them the bill, and someone said, why is Africa very expensive? And then we said, number one, that integration is not there. Number two, maintenance. And number three, security. So these are what they should look out for if they really want that togetherness in boosting the tourism sector in Africa.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow. So then, do reciprocal visa restrictions between countries actually hurt ordinary travelers more than policymakers?
It does. It hurts the solo traveler, it hurts the business personnel, it hurts the students. These are few people that it's really hurt. We understand the visa policy that was that was just recently introduced by the United States of America. And they're telling you that, okay, for new students, you're not really supposed to come, if you're coming in, these are the restrictions that are there. As a tourist, these are the restrictions that are there. You have to pay if you go for an interview and then maybe you succeeded. You have to pay a bond. How many people of us would want to do that? Even if I thought some people that even have the fund, they'd be like, no, I don't want to. So it doesn't really affect the policymakers, because somebody that is in government has a diplomatic passport to travel with, and then there are also that privilege. But as an individual, as a business personnel, schools are crying. People are not coming. We have bills to pay. Hoteliers are saying people are not filling our hotels. We have bills to pay. And then the individual on its own is saying, I have a visa, but I cannot travel. I have my time of leave that I need to spend in particular country, but I'm unable to do that. I am scared of this. I am scared of this. You know, that mental torture, that mental stress. And you as a student is, okay, if I leave, coming back, what is it for me? So the policies makers, it's not really going on well with the individuals that is at stake, and then also for the business owner, because they tend to lose fund, they tend to lose time, and then they tend to lose their happiness.
So then, how can government balance border control with the urgent need for foreign exchange earnings from tourism? Where is this balance coming from?
Balance is coming from on how the government tends to support the tour operators. I would also give you an instance. In Egypt, if you say you are a tour operator, the government supports you. Egypt on its own said that everybody can come into the country. Whether you have a US, a UK, a Schengen visa, you can come into the country. You can have a security clearance and then you come into the country. And you as a tour operator said, I have people that are coming into the country. You register with them. Egypt supports you because they want that tourism money. They've invested so much. One thing about the government is if the government actually plays a major role when it comes to tourism, the government invests. And in so doing, the tour operators they get their return on investment from when people come into the country. Like I said, the government plays a major role when it comes to boosting tourism of a particular country. Yes, we are tour operators. We have so much to do on our own part. But when we have that support from the government, I'm coming into the country. I'm coming into Nigeria, for instance. I know that the visa policy is favorable to my clients. I know if something happens, I can easily call and then they will get the visa policy. They'll settle the visa for me. However, is that a good road network for my clients to experience? The hotels, are they safe enough? Are they of international standard? The tour guide, how equipped is the tour guide? Does he or she knows and understand this terrain so much? Whether we like it or not. For instance, the Lagos Badagry Slave Trade Center has influx of tourists. And those people over there, that's the tour guide, they are vast when it comes to that knowledge. But the network to go there, if you're not going through CMS, using the water system, going by road, if you're not avoiding the traffic, yes, we know that it is okay. But if you're not avoiding the traffic, you might end up spending a whole day, 24 hours, because of the fact that you want to experience tourism. So they should build more road network, rail station. If the government does that, tourism in Nigeria will be the next oil that people would sit to
I
anticipate.
just wish that it can happen the way that you've just analyzed it. You've made a whole lot of sense. So much. Okay, then, so what role does political stability and even diplomatic relations play in shaping visa access and tourism flows?
It plays a whole major role when it comes to political stability. When your country is at peace, when your country has so much to offer, every other country in the world wants to come and invest in your country. When there's a political stability, everybody wants to come and invest in your country. This not only boosts the economy, it also ensures that the citizens, they have revenue, they are happy, everybody is doing what they ought to do. For instance, Ghana and Germany, they have a very good relationship, and there's political stability in Ghana as well as in Germany. As a Ghanaian, you might forgo every other Schengen country, but if you go to and apply to the German embassy, definitely your visa has a high chance of it being granted because of that stability and then that relationship. In Nigeria, if you're going to Maldives, for instance, because you don't need visa and the likes, there's that relationship because you don't need a visa to go into Maldives. Of recent, Canada and China, there's now this relationship. There's a political stability and there's a relationship. As a Canada citizen, you don't need a visa to go to China, at least for a period of time. Same thing that goes with Brazil. We'll see what's happening in Mexico of recent. Yesterday, 2 days ago, there is not that stability in Mexico. So that is not making some countries to offer visa-free policies. China and Brazil, they signed an agreement. That's if you're Brazil national. Why didn't China go to Mexico? Of course, they're also in the same Caribbean, but there's not that political stability in that country. China and Nigeria, for instance, yes, Nigeria plays a major role when it comes to going to China than some African countries. But they are going to that relationship, I would say, is not really there yet. So political stability plays a huge role when it comes to how your country assess every other country. If that is not there, or maybe that relationship is not there, visa policy tends to be very strict, tends to be almost impossible for your citizens to get access to. As a Ghanaian, you can actually go to Singapore. You don't actually need a visa because there's that relationship, and then they understand that, okay, yes, this economy is stable. Nigeria, on the other hand, you need a visa to go to Singapore. You cannot just even go and apply. If somebody over there is not standing in as for you as a guarantor, you cannot get access to it. So it really plays a major role when it comes to visa issuance, relationship, and then political stability.
Heartbroken by hearing this, that Ghana, our neighbors, have a lot of opportunities than the giant of Africa. So now, in an era of remote work and digital nomads, should countries actually redesign visa frameworks to attract long-stay visitors and global talent?
Yes, they should. They should. They should. Because the digital nomads, they're also there in your country to boost the economy, to increase the revenue. Giving them a long stay ensures that some of their businesses, some of their lives are not being just for a very short time and say, okay, fine, they really want to go. Portugal, for instance, understand that. Portugal welcomes the digital nomads. You can stay in their country. Malaysia did something like that. So what is stopping us in Nigeria from doing that? Because these people, in as much as you look at it, they help the economy. They are stable here in Nigeria with the long visa process. We understand the fact that the current Minister of Aviation, the Minister of Interior, they're actually really working. I wouldn't lie. However, you see the aspect of the digital nomad, they should consider that and look into that because those people help the economy to grow. They bring in their own revenue as well. So it is not something that they would just ignore and say, okay, fine, it's only for those that have work presence here in Nigeria. My work can take me outside. I might stay in a particular country for as long as 6 months, 7 months, and the likes. Of course, I'm paying rent. Where I'm staying is not for free. I'm paying rent. I'm going to the grocery store to buy some grocery. I'm paying for data. I'm doing it. So, in as little as it is, it also adds to the economy of that country. So, if you're saying, no, after your 1 month visit, after your 30 or your 2 weeks stay, pack your bag and go. And in the space of 6 months, and you don't have any other person able to replace that particular person, you've lost money in that aspect. It's something that they should really look at. And I don't think Nigeria as a whole has adopted the digital nomad system. But if it is something that the government is tilting towards, I would encourage that they do that because it's really, really help and then boosts the economy.
So, it's really, hearing you call the countries that Ghanaians can actually go visa free, and hearing the ones that Nigerian can go visa free, I'm seeing that a whole lot of difference. So can we be opportune to get to know the countries that Nigerians, the very good countries that Nigerians can go visa free and right about now? Can you do a little bit of a list?
Okay, for Nigeria can go visa free to some of the Asian countries. You have Maldives, you have no, not Singapore. Nigeria can get e-visa to Qatar, e-visa to United Arab Emirates, which of course applies to Ghanaians. Nigeria can go to Dominican Republic. However, there is no flight connection. So when you see some country mentioned, Nigeria can come, Nigeria can go into, Nigeria can visit Fiji, Nigeria can visit Bermuda, Nigeria can go to Barbados, but there is no network. There's no direct flight. And you need a transit visa to go into this country. And that's the aspect of where you said political stability and relationship. This country, they don't have a good relationship with us. So they will not grant us that their transit visa easily. So thereby limiting us with our network. I've seen some people say, why can't I go to Vietnam? Vietnam opened the e-visa policy for us. But because of some, I wouldn't say just Nigerians, African as a whole, they have to restrict that. Morocco, with your Nigerian passport hold, as a Nigerian passport holder, you have a UK, US Schengen, you can get the e-visa, which of course is not applicable to other African countries. So it varies. There are some countries that Ghanaians they wish that they can travel to, and they don't have that relationship. Nigerians wish that they can travel to, they don't have that relationship. When it comes to, of course, the West African countries, Nigeria can actually go there. There's free movement. Kenya, it's visa free. You don't have anything. Uganda, it's the e-visa, which is very easy. Rwanda, because it's visa free. I'm talking about the East African country. Zambia, Zimbabwe, it applies to both Nigeria and Ghana. You can actually also visit there just with the e-visa. But student to us. Botswana, you need a referral visa to go there. If somebody is not standing, in for you, I don't know, can you see me? Hello?
I'm seeing you clearly.
Okay, if someone is not standing in for
Can
you
you
for
hear me?
Botswana, yeah, I can hear you.
And I can see you too. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, if someone is not standing in for you for Botswana, you can't visit the country. It doesn't apply to other African countries as well, just because of a passport holder. Then for China, of course, we can't go there. Even the Ghanaians, they can't go there as well. For for Indonesia, it's still the same. We both apply, but more lesser visa policy for the Ghanaians as compared to Nigerians. For Thailand, yes, they have to come to Nigeria. Because of the e-visa that was introduced, Nigeria doesn't need to, but for the Ghanaians, they need to come to Nigeria to apply. So things like that, but just that it is very sure the Singapore, the Hong Kong, they don't need to, but for Nigerians still need to. So Nigeria is climbing the ladder. We're doing very well as compared to other previous years. That is, Nigeria is climbing the ladder. Just need to, because most of these policies they change. I can go to Google and then I see that in Nigeria you don't need a visa to go to Fiji Island. And in a few months or a few weeks' time, you see that you need a visa. I'll give you a scenario. There's a particular time that one of our clients was supposed to go to Turkey. That's proud to when they introduced even if I thought you have the UK, US, you need to go to the embassy. This policy was changed while the client was on air. So policies change. And when they got in, they just said, sorry, that is the new policy that came in, because the client was actually flying from Australia to Turkey. So just the space of few hours, the client missed that. So policies change. Like policies change. We might be talking now and saying, for China, you need a referral letter. And in the next couple of seconds, minutes, you say that you don't need it. So policies actually change. So we as store operators, what we do is we educate the public daily about policies of each country. So it might be Singapore today, tomorrow, and then will have to go to that. So I will not really rely on Google for this information because of the fact that policy change, and then some instead of the e-visa, it's supposed to be visa on arrival, or instead of the visa on arrival, it's supposed to be e-visa. So you just need, when you go into the country's website, and you'll be able to know and understand the visa-free countries that both countries can go to.
Okay.
Countries that are beneficial to us business-wise, and then travelers enjoy going to, I will establish a relationship with them. The e-visa policy for Nigeria, of course, is a seamless process. Since the new Minister of Interior came in, there've been changes. Now you can even apply your Nigerian visa within few hours, you get the visa, which is very commendable. When I thought of building a relationship, ensuring that there are some association in Nigeria that if you don't belong to as an individual, you have to go through them. Why are you going through them? It's not because of the fact that you cannot just wake up one morning and then go apply for your visa. But these people understand the issue of if you don't come back, there's going to be a penalty. Let me give you an instance. In Israel, tour operators over there, before they can stand in for you, they tell that you need to pay. If you're bringing people in, you need to pay $15,000 for the group. If any member of your team abscond, that money is as good as gone. If I am in duty, I would establish that. Qatar said, before you can come into our country, you need to go through some people that you can apply your visa through and then book your hotel and all that. Not because they are trying to limit you from coming to their country. They are trying to ensure that you come in and then you go back. If I impose a fine, you're taking people to China, you're taking people to Hong Kong, there is some level of, you will be very careful because you wouldn't want to tarnish the name of the company, and you might actually get your license seized. In Singapore, if you as a tour operator, some individuals, they come into the country through you and they didn't go, they will seize your license for life. So if you understand the fact that I might be out of business, definitely you want to protect your business. So if I'm saying to say, okay, fine, a duty, I would impose that and then build that relationship with these countries. What I'm talking about the airlines is, I'm traveling from US JFK to Nigeria, and the fare is 1 million naira. And then I'm going from Lagos, Nigeria to JFK, and the fare is 3 million naira. So what is happening? The airlines need to be called to order. Number one, I know that yes, there are policies and then there are taxes. If there are some taxes that have been eliminated, I'm sure that the airline will not charge as much as that. So I will look into that. Work together with the airlines. Air France, KLM, they will tell you once you miss your flight, that ticket is non-refundable. Turkish will say that ticket is non-refundable. This is for Nigerians, if you're traveling from Nigeria. And I go to Vietnam, and I'm buying a ticket. The same KLM that tell me in Nigeria I can't change my ticket, the same KLM will be telling me that I can change my ticket. So where is that coming from? Ghana, our neighbor here, you want to travel, and they are telling you that this is the price of fare. Okay, and then when you calculate the route, and then the same Nigeria, the price is like 2, 3, 4 times. I need to sit down with the airline. What is the issue? Like I said, I understand the fact that there might be some taxes, but that does not mean that the price will be above this. No, we have low, we have high season. That is understandable. So the relationship, the integration with the airlines, with the countries is very, very key. And then ensuring the fact that some individual that will be held responsible if somebody goes to that country and overstays. Or maybe someone comes in and say, okay, there is work visa in a particular country. You don't do your due diligence. You take people, children out. They are being involved in so many things. You as an individual, you're going to be held responsible. I would ensure that. So if you're saying you're doing anything, you have to do it legitly and the right means, because this
We've been talking to Tina Wanya. She is a senior travel consultant in Njetours. Thank you so much, Tina. I'm unable to
thank
hear you
you.
right now, but I just want to
Oh,
appreciate you. You've given us so much information in this visa policy topic we spoke on today on business money. Thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate you. Now, that is it for Business Money today. We want to thank you for staying with us as we track the latest trends shaping markets and the economy. Remember, business decisions are always stronger when backed by the right information. I am Destiny Mama. Do stay tuned for more updates on Big Story coming up after now, and join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business Morning on the Business Day Television Breakfast Show. Thank you for staying with us.